Hey everybody, it's Miss Bell here from the Science Lab, and today I'm going to be talking to you about one of our 4 seasons. Now, take a look at all of these pictures. What do you see? Going from picture to picture. Pay attention to what's happening in these different environments. Whether you're looking at the weather, or the animals, or the people, what they're doing, what they're not doing, all the colors you see, any sort of activity. And after looking at these pictures, I want you to try to think of which of our 4 seasons we might be talking about today. First, you got to know what all the 4 seasons are. There's winter, spring, summer, and fall, or sometimes called autumn. So of those 4, would you be able to decide what those pictures represent? I guess you kind of have to know some characteristics of each of those seasons. Winter, we know it's cold, and you might see snow and ice. Fall, the leaves start changing colors, and it starts to get a little bit chilly. Summer, especially here in the deep south, it gets super hot, sunny days. And then in spring, it starts to move from winter to spring, and those temperatures start rising. We start to get a little bit more sunlight, and we see a lot of blooming as far as plants and flowers and trees go. So which of those 4 seasons would you say represent those pictures? Well, ding 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 ding, if you said spring, yay, you got it right. So this video is about the season of spring. Here we go. So when we talk about the season of spring here in the northern hemisphere, spring actually begins on March 20th. This was just a few days ago that we started to jump into the season of spring. And as we move from winter to spring, we are starting to see more and more sunlight during the day because the earth is moving around the sun. And as it moves around from winter to spring, its position around the sun is letting us have more and more sunlight during the day. Not only do we get more sunlight during the day, but there is a refreshing of everything. Plants are growing, animals are being born, and flowers are blooming, and the air just seems to have a freshness to it. So people might open their windows and let that breeze kind of aerate the indoors of their homes. And some scientists have actually done studies that shows that the season of spring just brings happier moods, because in winter we're kind of stuck inside all day to stay warm, and in spring you can go outside, breathe that fresh air, see those blooming flowers, hear those birds chirping, bask in the sun, and it just brings a happier mood. And in the season of spring, because we're getting more and more sunlight during each day, those temperatures start rising, and you might find a really nice temperature in the season of spring. It might start kind of chilly when you wake up early in the morning, and then around afternoon it might be a lovely high 60s, low 70s, and get a little bit chillier at night. But spring has some of the best temperatures for going outside and enjoying your time and just feeling comfortable and not too hot and not too cold. Also, as we move from winter to spring, we are going to see some of that snow and that ice melt, because again, we're getting more and more sunlight each and every day. And because of it being spring, it's going to start changing the weather. We're going to get a little bit more rainy days and a little bit more windy days. Those are going to change the day-to-day activities that we can do in spring. It might even change the type of transportation we can take each day, or the type of clothes that we wear each day. And as we get more rainfall during spring, and as the ice and snow starts melting, it might bring some bad changes, such as flooding. And rivers might start getting wider and wider. The same thing with lakes or ponds or streams. They might get a lot more fuller because of all of this extra water. So during spring, not only does the weather change, but also what happens to plants also changes as we move from winter to spring. We see that some plants go into dormancy during winter. And as we move from winter to spring, they come out of dormancy. They're no longer dormant. So we're going to start seeing flowers bloom, grass become green again, trees are going to start growing their leaves or little flower buds again. And not only is this growing and blooming happening, but those insects that have come out of hibernation or have started to hatch or have migrated back to where they came from, they are going to be attracted to everything that's starting to grow and bloom as far as plants go. Those insects are going to smell those floral aromas, and they're going to be almost hypnotized by all the colors that they see from all of the flowers. And this is going to allow the insects to help with pollination, and that just means they kind of bounce from flower to flower or plant to plant, and it helps pollinize different plants so that they can help with the life cycle of these plants by helping these plants grow new plants. Not only are these plants coming to life on their own, but there might be other people, such as farmers or people out in their gardens, that are physically planting seeds in the ground and allowing this extra rainfall, this extra sunlight each and every day. Water and sunlight are one of the basic needs for plants, and they are allowing that extra rainfall and the extra sunlight to help grow what they are trying to plant. A farmer might need to grow crops such as corn or potatoes or onions in their fields to help make money for their family, or a passionate gardener might plant seeds in their garden to help spruce up their outdoor decor by trying to get flowers in their garden. So a lot of changes as far as plants go in the season of spring. So not only do plants go through changes during spring, but animals go through changes as well. When it comes to animals during springtime, we might see new baby animals being born. This might look like baby ducklings or baby bunnies or baby chipmunks or baby squirrels. And some of the animals that went into hibernation during winter are going to start waking up. They're going to come out of hibernation and be a part of their habitat again. So Because they've been at rest for so long. Some might not have eaten anything. Some might have woken up and eaten a little bit every now and then. They are going to be out searching for food. So be careful if you ever come across an animal coming out of hibernation during the springtime. Those animals that did not go into hibernation, instead that they chose to migrate during the fall and winter seasons, those animals are going to be coming back kind of to where they came from. And they're migrating. Here in the northern hemisphere, they're going to be moving north during the springtime to get to a newer location that will have a warmer atmosphere from what they're leaving and a better supply of food and shelter for them. Some of those animals that are being born, they might be hatching, coming out of some sort of egg or cocoon or something like that. So we start to see like the life cycle happening, maybe with like butterflies, for example, during the springtime, because everything seems to be kind of like this perfect condition. The weather is cooling off. We're starting to get a little bit more sun. Things are coming into bloom, and so it's just a perfect time for certain insects to be moving in their life cycle and starting to hatch. So another type of change that we can talk about as far as spring goes is what kind of activities we as humans are able to do outside, and it's all determined by the weather that's happening. Let's say it's a windy day. We might be really successful if we go grab a kite and try flying a kite in that windy sky. Also, if we are out in the ocean, we might have success at surfing or sailing because of those strong winds. But let's say we have a beautiful sunny day. We might grab a big old blanket and go outside with our family and friends and have a picnic. We might relax under a tree. We might go outside to exercise. We might do some hiking or set up a lemonade stand. During the spring, you might see car washes happening outside as well because it's not cold outside and we're able to withstand those warmer temperatures. And people also do a lot of gardening in the spring as well. But let's say it's a rainy day. We might have certain events that are canceled. Like we might not be able to go out to recess, or our outdoor concert might get canceled because of rain or heavy rainstorms. But it is also really fun though to jump in those wet, muddy puddles, kind of like Peppa Pig, when it starts to rain. And another change to think about when it comes to moving from season to season is what kind of clothes might you wear depending on the season. And when we're talking about the clothes that we wear in spring, well, we have to decide whatever it is that we wear, it needs to keep us either dry or cool, as in not too hot. So let's take a rainy day. What are some things that you could wear to keep you dry on a rainy day? Well, I automatically think of an umbrella or rain boots or raincoat. You might even wear like a rain poncho, just anything that pretty much is waterproof that will keep your body dry underneath those items. But if it's a sunny, breezy day, you might start getting out of those sweatpants that you were wearing back in winter, and you might start wearing more shorts or short sleeve shirts or tank tops. You might even wear sunglasses because of more and more sunlight during the day. You might change your types of shoes, like you might wear sandals or flip-flops. a hat to kind of cover your eyes from the sun. And if it's warm enough during spring, you might even jump into a bathing suit. But basically, you're wanting just kind of lightweight fabrics to keep you cool enough during the spring season. So I mentioned different types of changes as far as the activities that we can do outside or the type of clothing that we wear, different changes that we see in plants and animals during the season of spring. But have you ever thought about transportation? Does that look different during the season of spring versus winter, or versus summer, or versus fall? Well, during spring, we know the weather can help determine what type of transportation we can do or maybe we can't do. So think about a sunny, delightful spring day. That might bring us outdoors to do some fun activities that include transportation, going from one place to another. On a sunny day, we might choose to go roller skating or skateboarding. We might go to a park and walk along the pathway or go hiking. We might even go grab our bike and go take a ride around a park, and that's all examples of transportation on a sunny spring day. But what if the weather turns in a different way and it becomes rainy and windy and a big old thunderstorm happens? Well, it might not be safe to go outside and ride a bike. It might not be safe to go outside and skateboard and roller skate outside because of the windy, rainy weather. So instead, we might have to choose a different type of transportation that keeps us dry and keeps us covered from any of that rain. So again, these transportations are all dependent on what kind of weather conditions are happening outdoors. So on a rainy day, we might have to go driving in a car or a bus. We might even have to take a train, just anything that is covered to keep us dry. Now, you can walk during a rainy day. It's not like you can't, but if you don't want to get soaked and possibly run the risk of getting sick from being wet, then you might need to use some of those types of protective clothing that we discussed to keep you dry. So you might have to grab an umbrella or your rain boots or a raincoat if you choose to go walking outside on a rainy day. Now keep in mind that there are some types of transportation that might get, let's say, canceled if the weather gets too extreme. Take, for instance, a thunderstorm. You might have lightning and heavy rainfall. You might even have hail, depending on how cold it is up in the sky, but that might cancel a type of transportation, like a airplane. It wouldn't be safe to go in the sky when there's heavy rainfall, strong winds, lightning all around you. So there might be some sort of transportation cancellations during the season of spring, but it is all dependent on the weather outside and how we're able to maneuver around a sunny day, a windy day, or a rainy day. So I want to show you guys some quick videos of what I did about a week ago during spring break. My kiddo and I went to the Dallas Arboretum with some of our family members, and during our visit there, we got to walk around and explore the different places in all the different gardens. And while we were observing the plant life and the different kind of ecosystems that this arboretum has for its visitors, I want you to pay attention to what you see in these videos. Are you able to notice some of the trees beginning to bloom? some of those leaves starting to grow or the flowers growing from the trees? Can you see these powerful, colorful, magnificent flowers blooming or already in full bloom? Pay close attention to the colors, the shapes, the sizes of these plants, because this right here is spring in itself. You are able to see what we saw during our trip a week ago. This is what spring looks like, and I wish I could bottle up this smell for you guys so that you could smell this sweet floral aroma that we got to smell as we walked around the Dallas Arboretum. And it was so fun. This park is opened a good chunk of the year, and we try to go twice a year, once during spring and once during fall, because you're going to see different scenes during these two seasons of spring and fall. And like we've just mentioned, during spring there's going to be more sunlight. You're going to have cooler weather. Those trees are going to start growing their leaves. The flowers are going to start blooming. The plants are not dormant anymore. They're going to start growing to become fuller and stronger, bright and vibrant, to really attract those nearby insects to help pollinate the plants that are in that area.
So, when you talk about different animals that help pollinate plants, certain animals or insects are attracted to different flowers. Take, for instance, this type of bat. They are going to like certain cactus flowers, like these examples right here. Also, bees are going to like maybe flowers that are colored blue or like a purple color, like our irises right here. And butterflies, they like really colorful flowers, so they might like zinnias. But take, for instance, hummingbirds. These birds, like we talked about last time, have really long beaks, so they are going to like flowers that are shaped kind of like a bucket shape, like these. And what about moths? Moths might like certain flowers. That's allowed. Like this, where they bloom in the evening, so they might look like a jasmine or a primrose. And last but not least, we have beetles, and they might like white flowers, so they might like magnolias. So cool when it comes to pollination. Yay!
So that's pretty much all I have to say about spring. But before I go, it wouldn't be a Miss Bell science video without a song. So here is a song about springtime. Ready? And go. The sun begins to shine, the sun begins to shine. Oh, how I love the warmth, the sun begins to shine. The rain begins to fall, the rain begins to fall. Oh, how I love the sound, the rain begins to fall. The flowers start to bloom, the flowers start to bloom. Oh, how I love the smell, the flowers start to bloom. Yay! Go Miss Bell, go Miss Bell. Pat on the back. Okay, so to summarize everything I mentioned about springtime, are there some keywords that you can take away to describe the season of spring? Think about it. If I were to take single words to describe what spring means to me, what could I come up with? Think about it. I wonder if any of your words match my words. Some words that I came up with to describe the season of spring would be maybe relaxing, or growth, rebirth, How about breezy, or greener, or blooming? Any of these words, and possibly many, many more, are words that you can use to describe the wonderful, colorful, refreshing, relaxing, happy season of spring. Thank you, thank you, thank you, guys. Thanks for joining me. I love you so much. See you later. Bye.